Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me? Good
Yeah.
good evening. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We are going to start in another one minute. Um, and we already have our co-host. We already have Timiola Jide here as well. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. While we wait just 1 more minute for others to join, I would just like to say thank you for joining. Kindly keep your microphones muted as you join, except you need to speak during the session. Please kindly just keep microphones muted. On behalf of all of us at Twinkly Tots School, I want to say a very warm thank you for joining us tonight for the first edition of our Twinkly Tots Parenting Masterclass. As parents, we know that some of the most exhausting moments in raising young children are often not physical tasks, but the emotional ones. The moments when your child suddenly throws themselves on the floor in tears, when simple instructions become repeated battles, or when the whining, screaming, frustration, or hitting things seem to just be out of nowhere. And in those moments, many parents are left wondering, why is my child behaving this way? Why do I find myself shouting even when I don't want to? How do I handle this better? So if you have ever felt this way, please know you're not alone. And that is exactly why tonight's session is such an important one. At Twinkly Tots, we strongly believe that raising confident, emotionally secure, well-rounded children takes partnership between the school and the home. So our role does not just stop at academics alone. We are committed to supporting the whole child and helping parents feel supported on that same journey at home. So tonight, it's about helping you better understand those difficult moments and, more importantly, leaving you with practical tools you can use in real life. So that by the end of this session, we hope you will leave with a clearer understanding of why children aged 0 to 5 have such big emotions, practical ways to respond to tantrums and meltdowns without shouting, threats, or bribes, and simple strategies to help you feel calmer and more confident in those challenging moments. So our goal tonight is that you do not just listen to a topic, but that you leave with parenting insights that can positively change everyday situations in your home. So before I bring on our fantastic guest speaker, just a few quick housekeeping notes. Kindly, like I mentioned earlier, if you're just joining, thank you for joining. Kindly keep your microphones muted except when speaking. Feel free to keep your cameras on where possible, and please drop your questions in the chat as we go along, as we'll have a live Q&A session towards the end. So before we dive in, let's do a quick parent honesty check. If you're ready for that, let me just see a thumbs up in the chat room. If you're ready for this quick honesty check, let me see some thumbs up in the chat room. Okay, I can see. Okay, well done, well done. I can see that we're ready. Okay, thank you. So which of these happens most in your home lately? We have A, tantrums over small things, B, repeating instructions 10 times, C, sudden crying or meltdowns, and D, negotiating with a tiny human daily. So I need you to put in the chat what your answer would be to this. So I want to see whether you're going for A, B, C, or D. Oh, I can see some B's. Repeating instructions 10 times. Wow, I can imagine. Okay, let's see oh, someone said all options. Wow. So that's tantrums over small things, repeating instructions 10 times, sudden crying, meltdowns, negotiating with a tiny human daily. Oh, I can see someone has A, B, and D. Fantastic. So let's see more responses. Thank you for responding. Let's see more responses. Thank you. So at the end of this class, I'm sure you would be able to say to yourself, oh, so I'm not the only one. I'm not the only mom or dad that feels this way or goes through this. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. Temi Olajide. Okay, she's somewhere here. Temi Olajide, are you here? Can you please?
You hear me? I'm
Okay, yes,
here.
I can. Now I can hear you. Okay. Okay, so Temi Olajide, known as Mommy Clinic, is a parent strategist, child and teen psychologist, and the founder of Mommy Clinic, a global parenting platform supporting parents to raise confident, well-rounded children through structure, clarity, and practical guidance. She helps parents understand their child's behavior, identify patterns, and build systems that create calmer, more cooperative homes without shouting, threats, or nagging. Temi is the author of Data-Driven Parenting and Wi-Fi and Kids and Analog Parents, and has supported thousands of families with practical real-life strategies that fit into busy everyday parenting. So if you please use your emojis, the clap emojis, just to welcome Temi Olajide as I hand over to her to take on tonight's session. Thank you so much, Temi Olajide, for joining.
So much. Oh, Claire, am I clear? Thumbs up. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So just let me share my screen. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Just 1 second. Let me share. Okay. So you need to good. Okay, good. Okay, so hope you can see my slide. Let me go back. I'm taking you to the end of the slide. Just scroll. So you can see the title. Thumbs up, Claire. Good job. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is what I love to do. Child at a time, I've been introduced, and thank you for the warm introduction as well. So not to take so much of your time, I'll be speaking on big emotions, big meltdowns, helping children regulate without shouting, children less than 5. And I'm happy with what we've had. We can see that we're not alone. I think I have something similar on my slide as well, but maybe we'll jump that or maybe we'll talk about that as well. But we are not alone. So we are all raising quickly. If you're able to stay till the end, I have a gift for everyone is waiting for you. And this gift would help you, it will change how you see our session today. So quickly, let us rate your child's last meltdown. So have you, as I can see, everybody, majority of us are saying all of it, right? So rate it. We're so cool here, nothing happens in this place. Then 10, oh my God, that last meltdown, I'm still recovering. Like I'm still thinking, is this my child? Can this child embarrass me like this? So rated 1 to 10. Good, good, good. I can see the numbers. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Well done, well done, well done, well done. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I know that we should be able to move to like a 7. If you were a 7 before, maybe you move to like a 9 or something. I don't necessarily guarantee. So, okay, if you're a 4 before, you want to move to like a 1. So if you're like a 9 before, you move to maybe like so much 8. So we'll move to like a 2 before after this session today, right? And what I also want to do, so which we've done this, but I want us to engage it in a different way. So which emoji describes, parenting you to find an emoji inside these ones that I've given to you. Put it in the chat. And if you can relate to that emoji, like if we are the same. So for many of us, we picked that we're always repeating ourselves. You can see I said it on the same, we are the same. Like if three of us, we are like, we usually repeat ourselves like that, like each other's emojis, like I see you, I got you. Do that so that we should now see that, you know what, when these children are having that meltdown, it is not about you. God has not sent them. Have those, meltdowns, those big emotions, you tell yourself, this child needs me. This is normal, right? This is normal. Obviously, we don't want it to continue, and we're going to talk about how we can ensure that it do not continue. But at least you now make your life miserable. That child is not out to make your life, miserable. So thank you, everyone. I can see that. Well done, everyone. So before we get into our framework for today, I want you to picture like a storm at the sea. That is usually where the sea area is, right? The lighthouse effect. So picture a storm at the sea. The waves are crashing. Then the ship is trying to find its way, that which area should give light to say, no, this is the direction you need to come towards, even if you lose, your sense of direction. So in the middle of all that, there's the waves, everything, the ship is, so there saying, see me, I'm the light, come towards this place. The lighthouse is not running towards the sea to say, lighthouse is always steady, like this is the light, just move, this is where you come. The lighthouse is like a guide, when the ship can no longer find. The storm is the meltdown, the screaming, the emotion, everything is just going on with your children. Oh my God, the child is just thinking, ah, da, 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 da. Some of them, they can be so irrational. Is overwhelmed by the storm. The storm is there. The child is now trying to say, oh my God, where's my mommy? Where's my daddy? Where do I go? That is everything that is going on within your child, but they cannot, 5 and below, right? They cannot necessarily say, oh, the storm, go away, leave me, this meltdown, leave me. They can't necessarily say that. But the lighthouse, you don't understand what is going on inside your child, but you are there to stay calm and say, you know what, I'm going to guide you as how to navigate when the storm comes, right? So is your back to you. You are that constant light, that calm light. But what are we many times? We too, as a parent, we jump in the storm. We too, the storm is shaking us right and center. Ones. Because when you are now not in that, when you are not calm as well, what happens? Everybody is now losing it. The daddy, the mommy, the child, everybody is losing it at the end of the day. And which emotions, even as an adult, you see some, some wives when they're not getting their way, or the husbands are not getting their way, everybody is throwing tantrums. This how to manage their emotions, how to manage when they don't have their way, how to manage when things are not going well or right with them, how to manage when they're angry or upset with something. And that is why we are here today, to help our children, so that our children do a therapist or they need to pay for a training on how to manage their emotions as well. So it starts from a very young age. So before I get started, I also want to say I'm a mom of two as well, to be able to speak also not from a place of expertise as an expert on this topic, but from my experience as well as an intentional mom, right? And at least I've successfully, to God's, and it was in this digital age. So I also raised children in this digital world as well, children that had these emotions and everything. Maybe I'll be able to speak on some few examples also as well. So it's not something that I've not all teaching today. I've used it for myself. I've used it for several of my clients. So there are methods that work when we are consistent. So your child is not giving as well. Their brain is still developing. So the part of the brain that controls like emotions, impulses, is not fully formed. That is the prefrontal cortex. It's not fully formed until age 25. I'll just be thinking, why did I do that thing even when I was like 16, 17? What was happening in my brain that I made that decision or I just behaved irrationally? Because your brain is still developing. So the chat and say, borrow them, put it there. You're going to have to borrow your child, your own brain. That's your own brain that has developed. You borrow them on how they can leverage your own brain. So it's not developed. So why? So if you're able to think, okay, it's not developed, okay, it's not about me. Let's see how we can help this child. And feelings are right before words. You know, many of these children at this age, they can. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. They're not there yet. They're still trying to manage. So if you two are always saying no, 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 you just see your young children, that is what they will be responding to you. Any small thing, come, no, eat, no, sit, no. So you have to be also they're also learning these words because at this stage they're learning how to, use their words and all that. So because they don't have the right words yet, then they use all their bodies to like that when children are having these meltdowns, when they are having these big emotions, what you should be asking yourself is, what is this child telling me? Trust me, children are not in these age groups that we are addressing today. You should be saying, when you are saying it, it is communication. My child is communicating with me. What is this child saying? If this child is behaving like this, what that way, then you start to address it, try to say, okay, if this child is doing like this, okay, your conversation will be different. It would not be do this, do that, right? It will be from a place of understanding what your child is trying to say. Is we shout, we're threatening. If you don't stop crying now, you will not watch television. You will not have biscuits. Mommy will not take you to the park. Daddy will not take you to buy ice cream. You start to do all sorts of things and scream. What is all this? What is this child saying? Why is this child behaving like this? So because you want some level of peace, you don't want any drama. You come with your own arsenals. And these three arsenals that you see, trust me, you will still keep doing the same thing. And what I always tell my parents is that, you want this child to stop whatever, you know, drama that is happening. If you shout, if you talk, why are you not choosing to talk? Because if you're shouting, you're even getting your blood pressure up at the end of the day. And with the shouting, it does not even get them. Like when you shout, they cannot hear you. So why, my God, Daddy just shouted, oh, why exactly has happened? So they pause to understand that, why did you shout? And when you now say, oh, go there and do this, or that, oh, it's the same thing we always see in this space, right? So what I want us to, something that your child is getting into trouble. So maybe there's a fire, or there's a snake, or there's something dangerous, or the child wants to hurt themselves, maybe run into a glass. That's when you shout so that there's an instant freeze. But shout that they're having those big emotions and all that, it's not going to help. That's why you see it continue, and you just see them, it escalates, and you're thinking, I've shouted, I've done everything I need to do, right? So what shouting does is it models the exact behavior you want them to stop. So when I see some of my clients say, oh, Tammy, and the older one is shouting at the younger one, I'm like, how do you communicate in your house? And I shout. You don't want your children shouting at each other to communicate as well. Then we should also stop shouting, because it's not going to get the resolution that you want at the end of the day. Then when you threaten a child, it creates fear. Obviously, you're losing your child's trust. So this type of children, when they're used to being, threatened to get them to listen when they're having their meltdowns and all that. Yes, maybe trust. Those are the children, they will start to hide stuff from you. They will be lying a lot just because they don't want anybody to threaten them, right? So it can work for you short term, but so empty threats as well, they teach that your word means nothing. So for some people, if you're even threatening, right, and it's even you are following through with your threats, is another thing, right? Let me tell you a story that happened, to me. I think they were like 3. I think my son was about 3, and my daughter was like 2, because they have like one age gap within them. So bedtime was usually by 7 o'clock, right? And before bedtime, they would tidy toy basket and all that. So that day, I just said, you know what? They've not tidied. They were just so slow. That's what I tell parents. Even the children that are always like cooperative, what they would still push your limits one day, right? So I was like, 7, bedtime 7. If you don't tidy up now, no lunch, because we would usually do our tidy up maybe by 6, before, not dinner, sorry, before their dinner by 6 o'clock. So what were my children doing? They were playing, they were just laughing. They did not tidy, right? I said, if you do not tidy up by this time, you are not going to eat dinner. Hey, my children did not tidy up. Hey, but that day I told myself, if this is an empty threat, right? I'm threatening, needed to follow through with that threat, because I knew children, if you do not follow through with this, they're going to keep repeating that behavior. My children did not eat dinner that day. 3 and 2. They did not eat dinner because they still did not tidy up without food. That night, I was praying for money to come. God, please let this money come so that my children can eat food. But it was a difficult night for me. But that was the last day at that time, that age, even this before this time that we have agreed, because we have agreed that this is the time we need to tidy up. My children would never, like now I have a child almost 19. No child would ever, they would keep to it because they a threat. Threatening is like you say it and you do not follow through. So that day I said, me, I was just thinking, oh, let me see, at least these children, they always tidy up and they listen. But that day they did not. But that was the last time that it happened. Oh, if you don't stop crying now, if you don't do this now, if you're throwing yourself on the floor, you will not do this one. Is that how you follow through? When you follow through, obviously, it's no longer a threat. But if you don't follow through and it's threatening, trust me, they will repeat the behavior the same again. Then bribing, oh my God. Please, if I will give you sweets. If you stop spanking, maybe hitting your sister, I will do this for you. What it tells your children is that all any sort of thing from you, let them just misbehave. You will promise them something. Or if I'm a good person, like good behavior becomes transactional. So if I want something, all I need to do is misbehave, then they promise me something so that I can listen, right? So bribing, it would not stop that behavior. It makes it worse at the end of the day. And especially as they're getting older, it would not even help you, you know. So let's ensure that we stop bribing, because this is something I know many parents with young children do. And you know what happens? Maybe you're in church and the child was crying, say, oh, the child wants to throw one tantrum because the child doesn't want to get into the car. Oh, get into the car. I will give you sweets. You now know what? You don't give the child sweets. That is why that child is not even listening to you. That, oh, they've come again. You promised me sweets. I'm not listening today. And you're thinking, and this thing, this trick worked the last time. Why is this child not listening? Keep to your bargain of your bribing. So whatever you are not going to follow through with, don't do it with young children. That is how their brain works. Their brain works with patterns, right? So if they see your pattern, so they don't necessarily know what is happening, but they follow through. So if they do this, then that means I'm not supposed to do this. If they're doing this, they're giving in today. Okay, let me keep the behavior. They work with patterns. So what you want to ensure is that you are setting my framework for addressing these meltdowns, how to address these meltdowns and these big emotions. I call it the calm framework. The C is for check yourself, which I'll give you examples very soon. The A is acknowledge the feeling. Move them through, right? The calm, when you remember calm is that I'm calm in this situation. So very easy to remember. So C, check yourself. Many times when we're losing it, when these children are, misbehaving or they're all over we want to be true to ourselves. Many times we too were losing it because you are tired, you are stretched, you are overwhelmed, you are tired of just, So because of that, you too, you're like, oh my God, what is this? So some people, they spank the children. If anybody knows me, they know that spanking is a zero. If you cannot spank your 15, 14-year-old, 16-year-old child, I do not expect you spanking your little children. We can address that topic another day or later on. But stretched. So what are we supposed to do? Check yourself first. before I respond, I'm tired, I'm stressed. Calm yourself down, because you cannot regulate a child from a deregulated state. I cannot be overwhelmed and I want to help. So one thing first is, when you see that child in that place, yes, it can be embarrassing. Trust me, it can be embarrassing sometimes, because I've had, my clients say, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. If you see what this child did, just you first calm yourself. If you need to breathe, if you need to count 1 to 3 for yourself, next stage. So check yourself first and address yourself. Then you can now respond. So, like I always say, do not react to the situation, you respond to the situation. So, which brings us to the next one. Acknowledge the feeling. Yes, okay, this child is doing this, right? So, rather than, make it, you're not saying this feeling, this behavior is right, but you're coming with empathy to say, okay, I got you. I understand. You're losing it because you don't know what exactly you should do with yourself, but I'm going to help you navigate this. So I was in a place one day, and the boy, I think the boy will be about maybe 2 or 3, and the boy spanked an older person. So the person was trying to engage and talk to the child, and the child just spanked that. But oh my God. So I'm not saying when you are empathizing and agreeing with bad behavior. There's a difference. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to, the mom should have, addressed, there are different ways we address which we're coming into, right? Accepting or agreeing, but you are empathizing to understand that, okay, why does this child behave like this? So rather than sometimes say, stop crying, you're fine, right? You're crying. Are you feeling sad? So we have to start to help them name it. How that's possible. Start to help your children name it, even when they can't talk. Even children 9 months, 1 year, if they are doing something, you help them name it. Okay, even if they can't respond, they can be nodding. No, 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 da, da, da. That's how they also learn. Understand that, okay, if I behave like this, my parents would ask me, are you sad? Are you happy? And you use your facial expression. Are you sad? Are you happy? So they know, because they can read your expression. Upsell, tell me what happened. That is for children that can talk. But for children that cannot talk, you use your body language to let them understand that, are you sad? Are you happy? And you see that they can be able to nod them situation. So rather than you saying, I said no, stop it now. I know you really, so for example, maybe you give your child, maybe the child is crying, or you cannot play here, right? So you want to say, okay, I know you really wanted it. You've had enough for today. You can have it again tomorrow. I always tell parents that when we are saying no, let them know when you will say a yes, or why you are saying no, no, you're not playing football again today. Why? Oh, maybe it is late. We need to go inside of the house. Or no, for some children, you go and pick them in school. They don't want to go home. They don't want to. Maybe you can give 10 more, 5 more minutes. You can play, but explain, we need to go home because we need to do this. I know it is, trust me, it is a lot of work when you want your children to be able to communicate effectively with you. But you can give for yourself, right? So let them know, no, you cannot have biscuits now. Rather than say you cannot have biscuits, you cannot have biscuits again today, maybe tomorrow or on Sunday, whenever you want to give them, or later in the day, you can have biscuits. So the child, I can never have biscuits. That's what it's saying in their own brain. So let them know why you're saying no. So rather than you say, oh, why you're so dramatic, right? Some of you will be saying, oh, this girl, she's so dramatic. She'll just be throwing herself on the floor, any small thing. Let them, oh, I know maybe you didn't like that or you didn't want that. It is not that your children would be able to say everything, but what they're learning is that they're feeling heard. That, okay, these parents are not just losing it and just shouting and doing all their drama. What is wrong, with them. Then L, lower everything, your voice, your body, your level. So what do I mean? I always tell parents when they say, oh, their children, I said, do you know why children, they respect their teachers? Because the teachers, they sit on the same chair with them. They're all on the same level. The teachers will come down on the floor, they play with them, so they can see their teachers, the expression, the body, how they're communicating. That's why children too, they even would be like giants. You will stand up, you'll be talking, go, sit down, sit down. What happened? What is it? What do you want? Da, da, da. Come down to your child level, especially children less than 5. If you have any child less than 5, especially when you want them to cooperate with you, when they're in that situation, come down to their level. Eye contact, look at them, tell them, look at me. You see them many times when you say, look at me, they'll be looking like this. No, before you say anything, because anything you are saying, attention first, come down to the level. If you need to get a chair to sit down, if you need to kneel down, if your knees are hurting, then maybe you can get a chair or you sit down on the floor, but you have to come to get their attention, when you want them to calm down, when you want them to listen, when you want to address a situation, come down to their level and get their attention. And you lower your voice. Firm voice, but hear you, right? And use simple words. No lecture. Don't say, you did that yesterday. You know what I did to you? You know what happened when you've point. Come down to the level. Why are you crying? What happened? Is it because of this? Okay, you need to calm down. And sometimes when they are crying, they need to stop crying before you can talk. Because when they are crying, they are not so that you can listen to daddy. I need you to stop crying so that you can listen to mommy. Okay, calm down, calm down. When they stop crying, then you can speak, right? So, but lower everything, your voice, your body, to get situation. When I was in church and the mom was so upset, the boy was crying and the mom was upset. What is wrong with you? I'm like, mommy, don't calm down, don't worry. And all I just needed to do was I came down to the boy's level. I was talking to the boy, you know what, you need to stop crying first. Okay. And the boy calmed down, right? So, yes, I know sometimes we are frustrated, but that's why we're here. We cannot, your frustration, put it somewhere. Keep being frustrated, but when you want to address and guide your children, that, this is how we manage frustration, and that's not how we manage frustration long term. Then to the M, move them through, right? Move is an action word, like you need to do something. Is give two empowering choices. So now you've gotten their attention. Remember, you've taken care of yourself, you've checked yourself, then, you have acknowledged, right? And now we've gotten their attention. Is now, okay, how do we address the situation? So maybe you want them to, and the child is like, no, crying, no, don't brush my teeth for me. I don't want to brush, So give two empowering choices. Do you want to brush after you have your bath or before you have your bath? Or do you want daddy to go first? Do you want me to brush first? Or then I would now do give two empowering choices. Because why? It tells their brain, like, I'm in control. But you know that you're still the one in control. But you don't have to push your control in their faces. Because when you are pushing it in their faces, especially your children, when they're from 2, oh my God, that's why some people will say terrible. Stop naming, don't follow that crap and be naming your children terrible. They will remain terrible at the end of the day. So we already know that there's, at this stage, I can do something, right? So what you want to do is that trick their brain to thinking they're in control. So do you want to do this or do you want to do that? So they think, oh my gosh, like, I'm making decisions there where I pick in positives. So rather than saying, oh, don't run. You want to say, we walk. So maybe you see them running around the house. We walk inside the house. Do you want to go and run outside of the house? So speak in the positives. Jumping on the chairs. So rather than you saying, hey, stop jumping, what is wrong with you? Da, 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 da. You want to say, you know what? We sit on the chair, you jump on the floor. So if you want to jump on the floor, that's fine, but you sit. So do you want to sit on the chair or do you want to jump on the floor? Even test jump on the floor when you see them doing something. So name what you want, not what to stop. You are tricking their brain at the end of the day, right? Very psychological. So then use calming techniques. So we can also use calming techniques. I see the trend that if you've seen that trend, on Instagram, they're using it, and TikTok as well. They're using it to calm, the children when they're having big emotions and meltdowns. They're throwing tantrums, so they start to shout the Jessica. I'm like, yes, children can need some level of distraction, but just rather than you crying, this is what you do. So not that you're just shouting Jessica and you now keep shouting. How many days do you want to use to be shouting Jessica in your house? So the child would not know what is wrong. They just say that, okay, so it's not addressing the behavior. So whatever distraction, the calming technique when they've reacted the way they've reacted. So you can use calming techniques as well to say, okay, you can say, oh, how many colors? So when you see the child maybe just crying or just being unsettled, things are green in this house. What can you see that is blue? What can you see? So you see the child with like, oh, what's blue? What, So it kind of distracts children, in a way, and they forget why they were even throwing the tantrums, because many times they don't smell right now. Can you smell mommy's, perfume? Can you smell the food in the kitchen? Something like that. So just to distract. But this usually works for children above 3 years old. Then follow through always. Consistency. If you want long-term peace of mind, be consistent with whatever you do. Because a child that is doing right today, tomorrow can bring a joker and you are thinking, my boy was so calm and so gentle before. Why is he now behaving like this? You've lost them as they're growing older. But what you want to ensure is that whatever you're doing as a parent, you are consistent with whatever, with yourself. Your yes is your yes, your no is your no. What is not right is not right. Not that today the child is saying crying for biscuits, you give the child biscuits. Tomorrow, you work like that though. You have to be consistent. Whatever technique you want to use, be consistent with your techniques. Do not give in into something that is not acceptable. Situation. So maybe you are in a supermarket and it's not easy, but it's something I've also practiced myself. I go to the supermarket and the child is now crying, "Mommy, sit, sit, sit," and the child is not going to give me sit. I'm not going to sit down and be there and be saying, "Oh, stop crying now. Why do you want to? Okay, I will buy the sweet for you." No, because don't be embarrassed and saying, some children are throwing tantrums in the supermarket or in the store or even at a friend's place. Don't let anybody be telling you, "Oh, it's just a child. Leave the child." Remove, just say, "Okay, I'm coming." Take the child out of the situation, because with children, when they see that the attention is on them, they're like, because I'm throwing myself on the floor. And the way you're also saying, "Oh, what is it?" They know that, okay, you give in very soon. But when they see you remove them from the situation, like, "I'm not embarrassed." It is you. You are embarrassed. It's you that you'll be embarrassed for yourself. It is you have not bought it, leave it in the store. Step outside, take your child out, come down to their level, look them in there. You know what? We're going back into that store. If you do this, you cry again. This is what happened. Da da da. You address, you acknowledge it, you take them out of the situation, acknowledge it, address the situation. Because everybody will now be talking, give the child, talk to the child, leave the child. It's just a child. No. Take the child out. Many times when they see you take them out of the situation, they start to learn, okay, this man is not, will be behaving themselves when you take them into such places, right? And sometimes also you see you're driving and the child is crying. And I see parents now saying, "Stop crying now." All of you are shouting. No, there's some you have packed. They know this is serious, that you are not afraid to address the situation. Pack and talk to the child that, why are you crying? And address it. If the child is crying because they don't want to be belted, you have to be belted for your safety, and you have to sit down here. If you keep crying when we get home, da da da, 14 months old, they can be in timeout. There has to be an agreed consequences as well, to say, when you get home, then you're going to be in the timeout if you keep doing this behavior, because you have addressed the situation, you have acknowledged, you have done everything you need to do. Then if the behavior continues, then the consequences steps in. Complete response at a glance. Check yourself. Acknowledge what's going on with your child. Come down to their level. Firm voice, not loud voice. If you want to use the how are you addressing it? Are you bringing in consequences? Is it the two choices? Whatever that is, then you address it to correct or teach a better way to respond. Meltdown here as well. So for example, if there's a supermarket meltdown, a 3 years old sees sweets at the checkout. So you say no, full screaming meltdown begins, right? So what you want to do, check yourself. Don't worry. This thing is not embarrassment. The people can say whatever they want to say. I know it's disappointing, but we're not having sweets today, right? So do not give aura for aura because they will embarrass you the more. So come down to their level. You're not having sweets today. Maybe you can have sweets later, maybe when we get home or tomorrow. So what do you want to do? Do you want your two empowering choices at that point in time? Then the bedtime battle is another example. A 4-year-old refuses to go to bed, screaming a pattern. So okay, this is always happening. So it's not the time that you are now also very agitated. Every day you do this, mommy. Breathe and take control. Hold your boundary because bedtime is not negotiable. I'm so sad, when I see kids less than 5, they're still awake by 8 o'clock. What are they doing? Let them go to bed on time. And if you're struggling with bedtime, come to mommy clinic. We help you. But bedtime is non-negotiable. It's not the time to say, oh, okay, stay beside mommy till 10 o'clock. Function better in school. That's why in school they'll be sleeping. They are not listening because they've not had good sleep. They need to rest as well. That's why we've seen that in data as well, that children are more irritated, agitated. They throw more tantrums when they don't have enough sleep because they're not stressed and tired. You are irritable as well. It's the same thing that is happening to your young children. So ensure if you have children less than 5, they should be in bed latest 5 o'clock. You can push it latest 8:30 if maybe you are so busy and all. Non-negotiable, keep is a routine. The best thing you can do is maybe sit beside, not sit on their bed, have a chair beside their bed that is coming down to their level, acknowledging to say, what, it's bedtime, you need to sleep to be strong and healthy. So, and, because what we've seen is that routine predictability creates safety as well. Like I told you, patterns work. When your children see they're going to bed at what you can now offer as two empowering choices is, okay, would you like a dinosaur story or the animal one tonight? So give them two empowering choices than, oh, they're not going to bed, or you give in, or you now not negotiable. So the best response to a meltdown is making it less likely. So this is okay. We've had so that you are not having to go through all this drama all the time because you can prevent it. Number one, create routines. When people come, children thrive with structure. There must be a structure when they wake up, when they sleep. It might not be 100%, but your children work with patterns. Playtime, you just see them more cooperative because you have included them within that structure. So they would most likely not be tantrums. They're upset because they're hungry. Hungry man is an angry man. So, but for some of you, you'll be waiting for the children to be hungry to say they are hungry before you give them food. Whereas there must be lunchtime, dinner time, snack time. So for some children, that time so that they are eating as at when due. It's not when you are pressing your phone. Instead of you feeding your child, you're on the phone and say, give mommy 5 minutes, I'm coming. Whereas your child has not eaten. And the child is now crying and throwing tantrums, and you're now saying, what is it? Preparation works so well with any child. But most importantly, these young children. And what do I mean by preparation? I had a client that was saying, you know what, Tammy, this girl, every time the girl was about 3 years old at the time, when we have visitors, my God, one tantrums or the other, she will just be misbehaving, she will not listen, she will be crying. One question I asked, did she know that you were having visitors? No. Many times we are always thinking because they are the children, we are the owner of the house. They are also the owner of the house. They stay in that house. Before your guest comes, tell them, behave yourself, be a good girl, be a good boy, you help. Do you want to bring the snacks for the guests? Include them. That is called preparation. When you're going to church, it's not when you get to church, you'll be saying, stop running around. Tell them the night before, we're going to church. What preparation is for. Oh, you're going to school. You're going to school, especially when you see that the child is always throwing one tantrums or unsettled. So we're going to school tomorrow. What do you want? Do we pack your bags like this? Do you prepare them? Let them know what is happening. You want to switch off TV. The child is watching the TV. Peace of mind. You just switch it up. Bam. Bedtime. Oh my God. Imagine watching TV and your husband comes, switches off the TV and say, baby, get inside the room. Let us go. What are you going to do with your children? Prepare them in the next, even if yes, they don't have the sense of time, you can use your timers. We all have phones now. Put it alarm when they see you do it, regularly. Just put it when TV time over. They are prepared. So you see them, they are likely to throw themselves on the floor that, oh my God, I cannot watch this. So you give them 5 minutes to go, no more TV. That's how you prepare. Set expectations. If you're putting consequences, let them know that this consequence matches this. If you do this, you'll go to timeout. Not that it's when they've done it, you'll now be saying, okay, what do I need to do? Let them know. Be an inclusive parent. So know that meltdown is communication. So check yourself, acknowledge it, come down to their level, and set, whether be it consequences, empowering choices, redirection, and all that. And let me quickly speak on redirection, because I know this happens for children usually less than 2. Because you might be saying, they are just small children. Trust me, any child that can start to walk or stand is not, they know itself as an example. When my son, sockets, they will want to go to the sockets and be putting in things in there. So what I did was redirection is taking the child away to say, rather than you spanking the child, shouting, hey, he's dangerous, da, da, da. It was about 1-year-old at that time. Dangerous, don't go there. I was using my hands and everything, come down to his level. And I did it twice, and that was it. He never went to the sockets any longer. When the sister came and the sister wanted to go, they said, no, 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 don't go there. That's what you do when you've raised your first child, in pots, from the kitchen, rather than you packing the pot and be shouting, or the clothes in the closet. You redirect. Redirecting is showing them, not you doing it for them, showing them that you put it back. When you remove it, you put it back together. You show them that you put it back. No, you don't put it cabinet. And you just see that even if they do it, they'll put it back themselves, or they will stop doing it. So my gifts, I'm going to put a link in the scene is, why does my child do that? So now we've addressed what the calm framework is, how to address it. But many times when you're able to understand your child's personality, why they do what they do, then you're able to also understand how best to go with. It's going to prompt you. I'll put that in the chat now. It's going to prompt you to put your email as well. So if you want to join my email list, I'm also telling my story as to how I've navigated, an intentional parenting in the last 19 years. Worked, what has not worked as well. So feel free to join my to put your email there, and feel free to also confirm your email when it's been sent to you as well, so that you can join my email list. So that's my gift to you. Send an email to me as well to say, okay, were you surprised with the personality of your child and all that? So you an adult, because all this you're saying, my child is 1, my child is 2. Trust me, like, I can't believe that my son is almost 19. Remember when I was taking them out of the church when he was throwing tantrums or something like that, right? So time passes so quickly. But if you can tell yourself that, you know what, you are building an adult, you are going to be more invested in this journey than just thinking, oh, we should be winging this. No, we are not winging it. Navigate how they should manage their emotions and all, how whatever that is happening to them, it's not them, they're growing. That's why it's happening to them. And they need your help to help them navigate it. If and the Q&A very soon. I hope that it's been impactful. If you're not following us on Mommy Clinic, please do so now. Mommy Clinic with a double C. You can see it. Screenshot this place. So screenshot it. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to send me an email. Support, let me know. I'm very responsive. You can also WhatsApp me on that number as well. And yes, you can check out our website. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And yes, handing over back to you, Lamide.
Thank you so much. Can we just use our emojis? Let's give Temiola clap emojis, hearts, big smiley faces, whatever you can, send. This session has been filled with lots of gems. I have my notes here. I've just been scribbling and scribbling away. It's more or less like this is a session that you should never miss. So thank you so much, Temiola, and thank you for everyone who has been listening, jotting down, and then putting down their questions, which is what we'll be going to shortly. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you once again, Tim. And please ensure that you follow her on Instagram. Ensure that you take advantage of these free gifts that she has given. It's awesome that she has decided to give us that tonight. So it was truly insightful, a very practical and very relatable session. I'm sure many parents listening tonight can already identify with so much of what has been shared. So we're now going to move into the Q&A segment, which I know will be very helpful because this gives the opportunity to address some real parenting and situations. So if you please type your questions in the chat box, we'll begin to look at those questions so we can ask. But before we do that, I have two questions here. So I would start asking that while we wait for more questions to come up. So Temi, I have this question here that says, one thing many parents, can you hear me? Okay. One thing many parents often say is, my child cries over every little thing. So it's not just maybe my shoe today, or I don't like the dress, or I don't like ice cream. It is every little thing. Why do young children seem to react so strongly to seemingly small situations?
Okay, so I'm sure obviously having to listen to what the calm is. So why is the child crying? When a child is crying, the child is trying to say something. So just tell yourself, this child is crying for everything. What is this child? practical example. I'm a child. I cry for every situation. I want biscuit, I cry. They give me the biscuit. I'm going to cry for the next thing. Oh, you cannot play at the garden. I cry. I play at the garden. What are you going to do as a child? I will keep crying. So that's why you need to stop the behavior. So on my email list, for example, my son, when he was about 1 year, so you will hear me say my son because that I was very intentional. So my daughter, I didn't have too much drama, but in this young adulthood, I'm having the drama for. I was with my dad, so I gave him banana, right? The next thing, this child does not behave like, but the next thing, this child just it threw the banana away. No excuse to say, oh, I'm tired. That day I was like, this is the time to practice addressing meltdowns or whatever that emotions is. So I calmed down. I came down to his level. So he was coming to me. I said, trying to correct, a meltdown, a behavior that is unacceptable. It took me, that day I timed it, 45 minutes. Will any parent want to stay that long? You'll be saying, oh, I'm tired. Maybe he was tired. That's why he threw the banana away. No, I was redirecting him because he could not talk. I was just saying, you need to pick that up. You need to pick my child through anything, or I would say, oh, we need to do this, and the child is not listening to. Is crying for something. If they are crying unnecessarily, it's because they are saying that is how they can talk. A child that can talk will just not be crying and crying. The child can be crying and say, Mommy, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. But the child troubleshoot to say, okay, this child, okay, can be crying, okay, for this. Everything that the child wants is, I need to stop this behavior now to say, okay, crying is not communicating. It was something I did, we did, myself and my husband did. Something, you can tap me and point to it and say, that is what I want for a child that cannot talk. And when you can talk, ask and say, crying. So when you cry in our house, when my babies were young, that for you crying for biscuit, you will not even eat biscuit that day because you say it. We are learning to communicate. Thing has upset you, that something has happened to you. That is how crying is in our house. So crying is when something bad has happened to you, something when you are not happy with something that has happened to you, but when you don't want something, when you are not happy with what we've not given to you, in this house, we communicate with it. So teach your children how you want them to communicate with you because children are just crying unnecessarily because they've not been taught how to communicate. So it's your responsibility to stop that behavior. It can be a lot of work, but you have to stop it. And when you stop it once, they start to is getting them the attention they want, and they would keep repeating it. Like we said, patterns. That's how children learn.
Okay, thank you very much for that one. We have another question here. It says, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for emphasizing that meltdowns, tantrums are part of growing up. So in your expert opinion, how does screen time influence it? Many times my son calms down when he hears Miss Rachel, but many people have said avoid screens in young children. What is your take, Ma? My son is 1 year, 3 months.
So thank you so much for that. So obviously, Miss Rachel is working is because it's a level of distraction for the child. So the child is distracted, right? That's why it would appear like, oh, cartoons or something, or because the child is watching some people. programs, they're also talking like the children. And that's why I say, even to get your children to listen sometimes, you have to talk like them. So for many of you, you saw the example I gave for tidy up. When my children were tidying up from one, I will buy small brushes. It is not perfect. But the thing is that if you would want to get the attention of your children, sometimes you need to speak like them. That's why you see in school, so when I want my children to tidy up, I will not just be saying tidy up, I'll be singing, it's time to tidy up, it's time. You gamify all these things for children. So if you want your child, it just appears like screen is working. Trust me, screen, especially as a side of screens, because when it's like addiction. So when they are not on screen, they are hardly engaged. They don't want to listen. They want to be on screen or something. It's very addictive and it is dampening their brain. We are seeing it even in the adult children, the children that have grown up with the screens. They're thinking different. Like, for example, if something drops on the floor and you expect that you are seeing dirt on the floor, maybe you would want to think, okay, I need to pick this dirt, in the house. But the children of nowadays, they will bring more damage than good to children. So you want to get your children off screen. Even for children, to be honest, any child less than like 2 or 3, I don't see any reason why they should be on screens. But if it's your reality, but as if I would want, rather than maybe phones, do less of phones when you're trying to engage your children, with screens. But the TV, ensure that for children less than like 2, ensure that it's not more than maybe 1 hour a day or something like that. There are so many other ways that you can engage children. Maybe that's the topic, for another day. So because they're watching something distracting them and something that looks like them or sounds like them, what you also want to start to do is start to sound like your children. So if you want them to do something, you to use baby voice. Oh, do you want to do this? Oh, or sing, or do gamified. Oh, if you do this. So that is how I would, recommend engaging young children, especially a child that likes like Miss Rachel. You want to engage younger children with you to talk like them, play like them, gamify. That's why we're saying come down to their level as well. A whole lot of difference, but please reduce the screen. I'm telling you, for for real, you want to avoid it to your best, the best.
Thank you so much for that answer. Before we go on with questions, I would love us to capture this special moment with a quick group screenshot. So if you're comfortable, kindly turn your cameras on for just a few seconds and give us a smile, if that's okay. So we can just capture this moment and then we'll go on with questions. So if you're comfortable and you think you're in a presentable space, let's see you, please. Okay, we're waiting, please.
It's nice. They are
Okay.
chilling.
Oh, thank
Many people are
you,
chilling on
Diane.
their
I
beds
hope I got
and
that correctly. Thank you for turning on your video. Anybody else wants to join?
so you don't need to look perfect, right?
Yes, you don't need to look look perfect. It could just be a side of you or just the top of your head. That's fine. So we'll count to 10 and we'll just take whoever comes on. Thank you. Thank you. As you turn on the videos, thank you. So we'll count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, thank you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So we'll take the ones that we have on now. Thank you so much for turning them on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think the picture has been taken. Thank you. Okay, so I'll go on with the questions now. So to the next question. Thank you. My daughter, 1 year, 8 months, gets angry easily to the extent of throwing things away and intentionally hitting her head on the wall. So there's capital letters on the intentionally. She does this often. Please, what can I do?
So for this particular situation, sometimes it's not something one can necessarily say, oh, do this, because I would want to necessarily want to understand. So throwing things away. So for many people, I would want to ask, like, what have you done to address this situation, right? Because I don't want to just speak and say, do this, do this. So to the extent of throwing things away and intentionally hitting her head, put it in. She's doing it intentionally because it's getting attention. So when children are doing something that is not right and it's getting them attention, and attention is maybe you are always like shouting. So sometimes is not getting attention when they're doing the right things. So when they're doing the right things, maybe your child just even picks, let's say, a tissue from the floor and say, mommy, mommy, or something, or just something, or the child hugs you, and you don't say, oh, well done. That's when the child sees you, you talk, they hear your voice. That's when you'll be, why would you do that? The child will keep repeating that behavior as well. So we want to ensure that when your child is doing something right, acknowledge it, see it, let them feel. That's when they get your attention, because we've seen it work so many times that children throw more tantrums because that is what gets their parents to talk. That is what gets their parents to see them and relate to them. You can be thinking, oh, this is not making sense, but that is very psychological. So what I want you, when she's done anything right, acknowledge it and say, well done and all that. Then another thing I want to say is that, okay, how do you address the parents? How do you address it? Do you get what I'm saying? Children cannot just want to say, I want to be, yes, there are exceptions, though, where some people say, oh, maybe it's inherited or something. That means it is one person in. Also want to do is, when we are upset in this house, how do we navigate? You might not be throwing things, but maybe you are always shouting. Maybe you're always agitated, frustrated. You're always, how do you two, you start to is getting our attention. Use this calm technique that I've taught to acknowledge, to say, we don't throw things. It's death that we throw in the dustbin. You don't throw things around when you're upset. When you're upset with mommy or daddy, then hitting her head on the wall, he's wanting attention. So as a parent, I want to ask myself, why is my child wanting attention this way? Because the child knows, so you're going to hurt yourself. So address that situation and let's see how that goes. So you have to use, it's the calm technique, that the framework that we use. a DM or a WhatsApp, and we can speak more on that. But check yourself first. Check yourself first as a parent. How do we address issues in the house when we're upset? You might not be hitting your head on the wall, but what do you do? How do you model this,
Well,
So when she's doing right, do you acknowledge it? Or is when she's doing this that she's feeling seen? So do a bit of reverse psychology, start to acknowledge the good things, hugs, kisses, all that. Then when she now keeps doing this, then you know that, okay, you've done this. This is how we're going to
okay.
kin at the end of the day. And you need to address it because we've seen much more older, as they're getting older, some of them will start to self-harm. They cut themselves just because they want attention at the end of the day. So let's ensure that we do that. So try the techniques first. From there.
All right. So the next question, thank you so much for answering that. This person says, on your summary slide, there was a point that said, prepare them for the moment, not during it. My question is, for a child less than 2 years who can't express himself but starts throwing tantrums unexpectedly, so throw self on the ground and cry, how do we communicate effectively or prepare them before the moment?
So, like I've said, all the examples that I've, majority of the examples that I've said are for children that cannot talk. They can hear you, except the child cannot. So if a child is physically challenged, is a different thing. But if your child can hear you, the child does not have to talk before they can hear you. So preparation trumps, for example, when you switch off the TV. We know when you should have to start to look at the pattern. Every child has a pattern. You know when you want to turn on the TV, or when you go to the supermarket, or maybe in church or somewhere. So you know the pattern. So preparation is okay for my child. Did the person give a specific example? Or let me just use any example.
Yes, she said throwing tantrums unexpectedly. How do we communicate? Then she has like a part 2 to that. So she said, for instance, when you take something away from your child and you start throwing tantrums or crying. So is it advisable to give it back then so he can calm down? What do you advise?
So if a child, maybe I think collect something, I'm not able to see it. You collect something from the child, right?
Yeah.
And the child is throwing tantrum. So preparation is before you collect, let the child, you cannot just grab something from a child's hand and say, give it to me. You have to say, okay, maybe, oh my God, the child took a knife. But let's say it's your phone. How did the child get your phone? Maybe you gave the child the phone, for example. So you want to tell the child in 5 minutes. And that's why I said for children less than 5 or 2, they cannot talk. Put timer. Every child knows that if my phone does it, this phone, mommy is going to get it from you. Time up with the phone. That's preparation. So you are not grabbing. Don't grab things from children. It is totally unacceptable. Let the child know that in the next 5 years, younger one has taken, let them know, okay, you need to take turns. You need to share it. Not that you just grab it from one and give to another. No, call them. You need to take turns. You will use 5 minutes. Put your reminder. We all have phones. Put it. After 10 minutes, you give it to your older one. You give it to your next. When this phone does this, or you say it, this after this, mommy is going to take this phone from you or take this stuff from you. That's how you. the longest time, even for me, when my kids were younger, even when I'm going, let's say, on a call, on a work call, when I'm coming on sessions like this, even till now that they're adult children, I will just tell them, guys, mommy is going to on a call. I will give them what to do. Many of you, you come on a call, you're not engaging the child. The children, do you know how old they are? 5 years, 2 years, 1 year. Their attention span is so low. Like when to do is engage. Oh, you play with this, you play with this, you do this. You then mommy is coming on this call, daddy is coming on this call. 20 minutes, but you have to engage them with something. If not, they're going to disturb your call. Them. So that is preparation for the moment. That's why you would not see me, even when my kids were young, that they would be coming when I'm on a call or when I'm on the phone. As I'm going on the phone, before I pick any, I need you to be quiet, please. Just give mommy. But many of you, you pick call and you'll be shouting, hey, keep quiet now. Why are you children running around? And the children are looking at you. Did we know they are thinking in their mind, they cannot talk. Did we know you are going on a call? Did you tell us that? That's what I was saying. Thinking about it. The story of one of my clients, I was saying the child was always crying when guests are around. So I'm like, you need to, yes, prepare and let the child know that we're expecting guests. That's preparation. And that's element. And they were so surprised that that actually stopped. Maybe cake or something, that's how preparation works. I hope that helps.
So your
at the end of the
advice,
day. So that's how you prepare.
Just to tidy up that question. So your advice would be, so should this person take back that item? Is it advisable to give it back to the child? So she collected something. Is it advisable to give it back? No.
You don't give it back. If you have taken it, you cannot give it back. When you give it back, the child will keep repeating. You now know, moving forward, I'm not just going to take it away. I would give the child, prepare. I'm going to take this away from you in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But if it's something urgent you need to take from the child that maybe is not good for the child, or you need to take it from the child, is to say, now, because of this, trust me, don't worry. Even 6-month-old baby, they can hear you. The child understands. The child can still cry, but the child understands that you've communicated the reason behind it. And it's okay. Sometimes crying too is good.
Okay.
First, to communicate, to say, this is not how we respond to the situation. And if the child is still crying, to do that, then sometimes you have to navigate to maybe consequences, because now it's now more of the child is not listening, right? So, and I see parents saying, I don't want my child to cry. Like, what? If the child did not cry, would they have given the child to you in the hospital? So sometimes it's okay also to cry. When you've done what you need to do, you can. It's okay to step away, to say, you know what? I would leave you to calm down. By the time I come back, I need you to be calm, and you step away from the situation and you do whatever you want to do. You just see they will stop crying at some point. But when we start to enable and say, why are you crying? Why are you? Navigate from giving attention to the right things than the wrong things. When we start to give, when your child, they're doing the right things, start to, encourage them. Wow, well done. Hey, amazing. You start to see that they tend to now want to do the right things more than the wrong thing. From their meltdowns. And that's what we're stopping from today.
Thank you so much for that. So we have 2 more questions and then we'll round up. My 2-year-old son is very calm and gentle. Other children tend to bully or bite him when we are in gatherings. And I don't want to teach him how to hit people. How do I help him defend himself without getting physical biting them in return or affecting his calm personality?
So this one, obviously, that's where you want to also build your child's confidence to say, but you have to sometimes step away from the situation, go and report to somebody, right? I'm going to come back to you that you said when you are in gatherings, so I'll come down to it. But we want to empower our children, not only for when you are step away from the place. If somebody is biting you, step or go and tell somebody, an adult, tell auntie this, tell. So when your children are going somewhere, let them know, especially children very young, that they cannot necessarily help themselves. To say, if somebody does this to you, tell this person. But you are your child's first advocate. Don't sit in there and your child is just two. The child cannot necessarily sometimes save themselves. It's actually to tell those people biting. So what is your child learning? Your child is learning that my parents will start. You don't bite him. You don't be afraid of. I tell people, you are your child's first advocate. Let people say, our own is too much. You are standing up for your child. Let is biting him. No, it's unacceptable for children to be biting. So tell those young children, you do not bite. Don't bite him. Don't bite her. It is wrong, and correct the behavior. Stand up for your child. Your child learns two things there. I can learn to start to stand up for myself. They might not be able, but you have to start to also build that child's confidence. Say, this is what we do in a situation like this. If it's an older child now, you can say, oh, when they are trying to bully you, you can use your mouth and say, why are you doing that to me? Stop doing that. And report the child or step away from that situation. But obviously, I would never encourage a bad behavior to address a bad behavior because it's not sustainable. But your child has to be strong enough, confidence to start. So you start to build it now so that when the child is much more older to express themselves, say, don't bite me.
Okay.
And some people do that, but trust me, it's not sustainable. You are also raising a monster at the end of the day.
So before I read out thank you so much for answering those questions. We have two more questions. Before I read that out, I would like parents to just please share what they are taking away from tonight's session in the chat box. Let's just begin to see what you are taking away from tonight's session. And if you are new to Twinkly Tots School, you haven't heard of Twinkly Tots School until this moment, we want to say thank you so much for joining. We would love you to experience our approach to education. So if you live close by or you're in Lagos, Ikeja, you walk around Ikeja, Maryland, Okwebi, Magodo, we would be happy to welcome you for a personalized school tour and discovery visits. You can simply send us a message after this session, whether on Instagram, through email, and our team will be glad to help you plan a convenient time for you. We would love to partner with you in your child's journey. So I have one question here. So I'm waiting to see the comments of what you're taking away tonight. This person is asking about a child who sucks her fingers and gets upset when they are removed. So she sucks, she will literally throw herself down and start to cry. And then she says, I'm forced to let her be to stop the tantrum, but this is spoiling her dentals, aside taking her attention from engaging with her environment. How can I stop the sucking? So this child is always sucking. How can...
So when it comes to sucking, right? In between, there's some things that we want to stop as parents that is maybe from our own upbringing or mentality. I would necessarily want to or at the end of the day, you take the child to You see now, even my old age, I'm using Invisalign. Means I'm trying to sort out my dentition. When I was sucking my fingers, when they left me to be sucking it, is it now? Am I not the one facing the discomfort now? At the end of the day, tantrums because of sucking. To be honest, um, is for you to address and solve the sucking, because you cannot tell her that she should not be upset because the sucking, you want to suck it. If you want to stop it, I will just tell you a technique I teach my own clients, but there's just one thing that we use. So I don't know if you know, because when it comes to sucking, it's more a bit of attachment and psychological. So it's not something. So what I've seen that has worked, because I used it for my daughter as well, because my daughter sucked, she sucked briefly for maybe about a year. But I left her to suck until I was able to use this technique. So there's a product. So obviously this one is for me and has worked for my clients. But for me, I would say there's no big deal if a child is sucking, but if you want to stop it. So there's this product that is called like Nail the Habit. So there are like products that they use to do, but the technique, why it works is how we use it. So when you use, is like a paint, like a nail paint, but it's very big. It with that bitterness, right? That is bitter. But what you want to do is when you've had the child's bath, put the nail, the habit on it. So when the child wants to eat, put the nails, it will be, when the child eating. So probably like 3 times in a day. So before the child goes to bed as well, you use it as well. You put it, so you don't just put it once and expect it to work. You have to put it anytime you wash the child's hand, you have to put that nail, the habit back. Trust me, use it for like 2 weeks. The child will stop sucking. So just find that's the only thing that I've seen work. Some people will use all these like a wuro, some different things. Some people will tie, it does not work. But this is the only one. Have to address that. If not, the child will be unhappy. Like, why are you removing it? There's nothing you can do about that. But stop sucking. So hope that helps. So the product is any product. Let me just type it in the.
Mm. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure
Yeah,
she'll be willing to at least try that. So we have
yeah.
one more. It's more like a comment or something like that. She says on the sleep time that you talked about, it isn't realistic for some people. So she's saying, for example, she works 9 to 5. She's a professional,
Mm-hmm,
works 9 to 5. She picks up
mm-hmm,
her kids around 6 p.m. And then before they
mm-hmm.
commute and get home, it's between 7 to 8, depending on traffic. Then between getting home and taking their bath and then having dinner, they don't get to bed till 9, between 9 and 10. She has
Trust
tried
me,
to
I've
modify it.
worked. Trust me, I've sleep trained over 5,000 children, and all my clients are high achieving, busy, extremely busy moms. But I'm not going to say my trick. I understand what you're saying, but there's always a trick. Even if you are coming, yes, you said you are coming home at this time, there's how we walk around this thing. But even if, let's assume your reality, because sometimes we always make excuses for in the best interest of your children, right? Your children need sleep. So what are you going to do as a parent to ensure that your children are in bed, especially children less than 5? You want to ensure they're in bed 8:30. But as early as possible. Is your reality? I'm not there, but I've worked with thousands extremely busy parents, and it has transformed. Organize your schedule. But if you say it's not working for you, then it's your reality. There's really nothing I can do to that. But just reorganize yourself and do anything you need to do in the best interest of your children.
Maybe we'd also suggest that she sends you a DM, and maybe she wants to, have a one-on-one with you to see if
It's
you are able
okay.
to help her
It's okay
as
because I'm
well.
a psychologist. So when someone is saying something is not possible, then the person has limited solutions. It's like, oh, this is my reality. How can I make it?
Mhm.
Need to do in the best interest of your children. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I can see the takeaways. Can we just say thank you to
Thank you,
Temiolajide in the
everyone.
chat and give her all the emojis we can? I
Thank
can see
you.
someone saying my takeaway is to come down to your child's level, reinforce the positives you want to see rather than what you want to stop. Someone is saying I need to check myself first because I can't regulate my child myself. If I'm not stable, I need to come down to my child's level. Someone said the calm framework touches every point I needed. Someone said, oh, this is eye-opening for me. This is what we want to see. So thank you so much, Temiola DJ. Someone is saying, I am acknowledging that I'm not frustrated and angry most of the time. I need to be calm first. I need to come down to the level of my girl. I need to praise her more when she does anything impressive. So thank you, ma. So thank you so much.
Fantastic.
We still want to
Well
see the
done, mommies and daddies.
emojis.
I'm so
I
proud of you
hope it
guys.
was what your evening. So please let's still receive more take homes and emojis. So thank you so much, Temiola Jide, for such an insightful
Thank you
and
so
practical
much.
session. I'm sure every parent here would agree that it has been extremely eye-opening and helpful. I believe one of the biggest takeaways from tonight is that many of the difficult behaviors we see in young children are often not simply bad behavior, but communication, like you said, unmet emotional needs, developmental immaturity, and understanding this changes how we respond. So, which is what we have learned tonight. At Twinkly Tots School, this is exactly what makes our approach also different. We're intentional about seeing beyond surface behavior. We do not just want to focus on academics alone. We focus on the all-round development of each child. So their social growth, their confidence building, communication, everything. And we strongly believe that the best outcomes for children happen when schools and parents are working together with shared understanding, which is one of the reasons why we partnered with Temilajide of Mommy Clinic to just help support our parents and to build that partnership. Because to us, supporting parents is part of supporting the child. So thank you
Yeah.
once again, every parent that's joined tonight, who made, took time out to join us tonight. And of course, a huge thank you to Temi again for sharing so generously with us. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. We still want to see the emojis. Keep them coming as we leave. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you,
Temiola
everyone.
Jide. Please
Take care.
follow
Bye.
Mommy Clinic on Instagram. Please follow Twinkly Tots on Instagram as well. Thank you so much. And we know that our children from today would be better from all that we have learned today. We want you to please share testimonies. Share, after using this calm approach, this calm framework, please go to Twinkly Tots and say, oh, thank you for that session with Mommy Clinic. This is what I've done and this is the outcome. Also share with Mommy Clinic. And so thank you for that session. I've tried the calm approach. I've tried this, and it has really worked. Please share the news around. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.